Hey everybody, I am PJ, and this is my NES Bionic Commando 100% speedrun in 2043 by RTA timing, and that comes out to be like a 2036 or 35 by STA timing, somewhere around there. This is also the world record for this game, and by far the best 100% run of this that I have ever done, so I sincerely hope that you enjoy it. 100% in this game is defined as just collecting every item, or rather every item that appears in your inventory. So we don't have to collect like the extra lives that appear in the stages, stuff like that. Those don't matter. So what that involves is completing each of these action stages, I call them, and then visiting all of the neutral zones that will be giving you an item. So we don't have to visit every stage, and we don't have to beat every stage because there's really no way to beat a neutral zone. So yeah, I think it's just a really great category. It has really great pacing. It's by far my favorite category of the entire Bionic Commando series. I think it's just really great. And most importantly, it doesn't have any luck with regards to truck movements on the map. And that's very important to me now. So that was Area 1. Area 1 is one of the most difficult stages in the game, not only because you have to play with 0 health, but also because it has a lot of really tight camera manipulation to force spawns to be exactly where you want them to be. So after Area 1, we go to Area 13. We collect the flash pellet here. Now, the Bionic Commando has 4 different pages of equipment. There's a page for weapons. You can equip one from each page. There's weapons, armor, accessories, and communicators. The flash pellets are an accessory, and they are intended to be used in this stage because this stage is completely dark. But we don't actually have to use it because you can still pretty clearly see the platforms and the ceiling, and even the enemies are silhouetted, so you can see them like running across the background. You can see the shadow move, and the enemy spawns are also completely fixed. So if you've played this game quite a lot like I have, I already know where all the enemies are. So I don't really need to see. But the main reason we're not using the flash pellets is because the item that we get from Area 1, the health refill pills, or energy refill pills, something like that, a potion, essentially, it allows you to, once per stage or once per life, refill your health. Whichever of those is more frequent. So if I were to die in this room, even though I already used the health refill pills for this stage, I would get to use them again. And this is the item that we're going to be using for the entire run. Now, at this level, it's not really important that I have it equipped, because I'm not going to be taking damage in the route anyways. Or rather, I'm not going to be taking unintentional damage in the route. But it is really convenient for just safety. If something goes really wrong, you can heal. So Area 5 is the first stage in any percent, and stage 3 in this. So I have a lot of experience with this, and I'm not really in any danger of losing the run. So what I aim for here is to get as many of the frame-perfect back hops or quick pulls as I can. And that is when you're doing a cancel like that to hop, instead of going forwards, you go back, and that's a 1-frame window. And you can see the quick pull here, right before the door. Back hop into quick pull, right there. That skips the entire reeling in animation and climbing animation. If you press A on the frame that your vertical grapple connects to a platform, Spencer is immediately placed on top of the platform. So, really for all of the stages, I'm focusing on getting as many of the quick pulls as possible, and getting back hops where they're beneficial to do so. But in stage 5 in particular, I try and get as many as I possibly can. And I think I aim for 10, or rather there are 10 possible. And I think in that playthrough of Area 5 I got 5 of them. So that's well above average and really, really good. From beating Area 5, we get the rocket launcher, and that's the weapon that we're going to be using for the entire game, with the exception of one stage where we have to use a different weapon. This is by far the most annoying stage in the game. These slimes are completely random. It is completely unfeasible to try and manipulate them in any way. And they stop your momentum when you're swinging. They just grab you and place you on the ground. So you can't really map out an exact plan to get through, because if one slime appears in a spot where you're not expecting him, then it foils the entire thing and costs multiple seconds. So that stage, it had a minor slip-up. I got stuck inside a wall in the middle of a grapple, and then I got saved by slime luck. So that mistake could have cost me like 3 or 4 seconds, and instead I only lost about 2. So that was an exceptional recovery. From Area 2, we got the pendant. That's our first piece of armor, and the only piece that we're going to equip. That allows us to block a single bullet. So if we're shot by an enemy, the bullet will just bounce off and we don't take any damage. But if we're shot twice, the second bullet will hit us. And I never mentioned in the caves, the dark stage, we got something called a wide cannon, which is a close-range shotgun that does the same damage as the pistol. It is really bad. We will never be using it. This stage, Area 3, is a really cool level. It's one of my favorites in the game. That interior section has some really tight maneuvers that are just super fun to do, and it looks really smooth when it's done well. Well, Area 3 is one of the stages that we are actually required to beat for the purposes of progression. So any percent also beats Area 3. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm assuming it's storyline based. If we were to go in the communication rooms and talk to people, there would be some intel that we need to gather in Stage 3. But that brings us to 6. 6, I think, is... it's probably a toss-up between Area 6 and Area 10 for hardest stage, but there's a lot going on in this stage, and a lot of this is based on a screen timer. So this screen just loaded, and the enemies in the second half of this screen started throwing barrels once the screen loaded. So my movement has to be tight enough to hit all of these cycles, or else I lose a significant amount of time. So if I was a little bit slow, I wouldn't have been able to swing through the first spike ball, and I wouldn't be able to swing before the second spike ball. And things can just snowball out of control there. If you're just a little bit slow here and there, it can cause you to miss 1 to 2 to 3 cycles, depending on where the spike balls line up. But that particular stage was a gold split, so that was the best that I've ever done Area 6 in a run. That was incredibly good. So Area 6 is another stage that is required for progression purposes. To break the barrier at the beginning of Area 6, you need the rocket launcher, which you get from Area 5. And when you beat Area 6, you get a permit, which allows you into this area, which lets you grab the blue communicator, which is needed to cross from Area 6 to Area 8. We don't end up using any of the communicators. You only have to actually visit the communicator rooms in Area 1, 4, and 8. But we're going to be doing another trick in Area 8 to bypass those entirely. So, I've been calling this the wrong warp. In the past I've called it door storage or room storage. Essentially what's happening is that you can't enter a door when your grapple is connected to something. But if you heard there, it played the door entry sound. So if you press up, if you try and enter the door in the same frame that your grapple connects to something, the game will internally track Spencer as if he entered the door, but it won't actually send you there. And then if you enter a different door, it pretends that you entered that door number of the room that it thought you entered. So I did the door storage on a door that would have taken me to an elevator shaft, and then I entered door number 2. And door number 2 in the elevator room is the boss door. So even though the boss door is technically locked, by doing some witchcraft, I was able to go through it anyways from a different room. And this is another stage, much like Area 6, where the screen timer, or stage timer in this case, dictates what you can actually do. So the fastest way to do this is to go as fast as possible and ride a minecart on this second level platform. But unfortunately, and this is the only time it's ever happened to me before, I got there at exactly the wrong time, and I still have no idea what caused this, but the minecart actually screen wrapped. So the minecart was in a good position, but when it left the right side of the screen, instead of continuing forward along, the right side of the screen, it screen wrapped to the left side of the screen and then started moving right from there. And as a result, I wasn't able to get up there and ride the minecart because it didn't exist. It was a full screen length to the left. So I didn't actually make a mistake there, but the minecart was not accessible, and that caused me to lose an additional 2 seconds or so, compared to completely optimal. So that was a bit unfortunate, but there was nothing I can do about it. Okay, so at this point in the run we do a bit of backtracking. We have to interrogate this guy, and this scene was toned down a lot from the Japanese version. It was originally a torture scene, but here we just get real close to him and talk, and he spills the beans about this secret passage. And the reason we do all this is because this secret passage has a helmet, which is another piece of armor, and something that is required for this category. But yeah, if you're paying attention to my map stage order, you notice I skipped a few neutral zones. The reason for that is just because it works out better to visit them here from a truck perspective. So if you run into one of these green trucks, you're taken to a top-down section, just like we played there with the helmet. And it takes about 18 seconds to play through. And that's a lot of time. Like I'm not sure if I mentioned, but this run is 10 seconds off of my sum of best splits. So if I get a single truck encounter, it's no longer possible to even be within 8 seconds of my PB. So yeah, we don't want to get trucks. That's a lot of time. So yeah, all of the stage route here is designed around avoiding all of these truck encounters. And the reason I'm firing my gun in these neutral zones is because they are full of NPCs that want to talk to us and give us all kinds of interesting gossip. But many of them are unavoidable, so like if you swing through them, they'll stop your swing to talk to you. And dialogue is incredibly slow in this game, so talking to an NPC can cost you 15 seconds. So by firing the gun, we break the ceasefire, we trigger hostility, and all the NPCs go away and they're replaced with enemies. And enemies are easy to deal with because you can swing through them or shoot them. It's really convenient. And an additional bonus is that in Area 15, the previous stage, when we shoot, we lower this barrier that's normally preventing us from continuing. So that item you're not supposed to get until the very end of the game, and we're able to get it early just by firing our gun. This guy here, his name is Destroyer 3. He's another guy whose item we're not supposed to get quite yet, but if we know where he is, and we know he has a machine gun for us, he lets us collect it. So with that, all of the revisits are done. We're ready to proceed. Area 7 is really tough. The major time savings here are from quick pulls, and I think I get 3. Or sorry, I think I get 2. Yeah, those 2 I got. Actually, I might get this one too by the helicopter. Let's see. Yep. Oh man. Wow, that's really good. So each one of those quick pulls, that again is on a vertical grapple, you skip the entire reeling in animation. Each one of those, since they're such long vertical grapples, saves about half a second. And they're all frame perfect. So that was an exceptionally good Area 7. And this is another manipulation. This is the Freeway Gun. It's extremely weak. I think it's the same power as the revolver. But it's super, super bad. So you need it in Area 7 to break the first barrier. Historically, many other runners would break the barrier and then exit the stage and then re-enter the stage with the rocket launcher to play through it that way. But you can manipulate the boss here to never pull you down from the wall. Or sorry, from the ceiling. And then you can just, if you're lined up properly, stay in the ceiling and shoot the reactor core from the ceiling safely. And doing it that way is about 4 seconds faster in this version. It's really convenient. But that is the only stage in which we will be using the not rocket launcher. So, that's where we saved Super Joe. Super Joe is, he was supposed to be the hero of this game. He was who the FF Corps sent in to stop the bad guys, but he got captured. So we liberated him. He gave us some clues on getting the communicator and getting the machine gun from Destroyer 3, and then tells us where to go to stop the bad guys. So this is Area 10. This stage is unbelievably hard. This is another one with a screen-based cycle. So once the stage loads, this platform starts moving left and right under this spike, and you're intended to ride the platform to the other side. But we want to get there so fast that the platform isn't ready to pick us up, and we swing over it. And then we skip the spike manually. And more importantly, it's pretty easy to skip the spike and land safely on the other side, but we want to skip the spike and grapple on a certain pixel of the platform that the spike is on, so that we can grab the ceiling and get a really big swing off the ceiling. And that's a new strat incorporated into my runs in this latest revisit. And if done optimally, it's about 2.5 seconds faster than riding the platform. And that was an incredibly good stage. That was super, super good. So yeah, it's always a thrill to get a good Area 10 in a run, especially this, because Area 10 is so much later in 100% than it is in any percent. Area 10 is the only stage that doesn't actually give you, well no, besides Area 7, it's the only stage that doesn't give you an item. It just gives you a 1-up. But it is required for progression purposes. You can't actually get to Area 12 without beating 10 and 11 first. And 11, by comparison, is quite an easy level. These swings are a little bit tricky, but I mean, I've been running this game for 5 years, so this is kind of my cooldown time. One thing that's kind of annoying is that these ceiling lasers, I believe, are based on the time that you enter the door. So I think if you're too fast through Area 11, you get to the boss door too early, the lasers will be firing late, and that causes you to get hit backwards when you swing up there. So I didn't intend to miss my grapple in the boss room there, but I think I got a really bad laser cycle, and if I had actually gotten the grapple, I would have been hit backwards and lost 2 seconds. And that brings us to Area 12, which was the longest stage in the game, and is now very much not. This is a barrier skip that was found by Pakalitis. He's an extremely good Bionic Commando runner. He's second place in any percent right now. So yeah, if you take damage from the barrier at the same time you take damage from another source, whether it's a bullet in this case, or another grapple soldier, you can go right through. And otherwise those barriers are impassable, and you have to go through these side rooms and deactivate these reactors. And it's really time consuming and really, really hard to do optimally. So yeah, this makes this stage a lot simpler. And unfortunately I missed the second barrier skip on the first attempt. But the timing of that soldier that fires the bullets is random, and I got the earliest possible bullet cycle. So even though I missed one cycle of bullets, it only cost me about 2 seconds compared to what you'll ever see. Like, I've never ever gotten bullet patterns that fast. So that was convenient. What just happened there is that the leader of the army was killed. He was killed by this guy, Master D. Master D is the only one with plans to this giant death machine. He's going to try and take over the world with it. So they were going to use Master D's plans to create this machine. But Master D, upon being revived, realizes he doesn't actually need them. And here we are. So he killed the general, then we killed the death machine. Now we have to finish the job and kill Master D. That Albatross kill, that's just the standard zero-cycle Albatross that I've been doing for years, but it's still pretty nerve-wracking. especially with a run on this kind of pace. So if you miss a shot on the helicopter here, you are killed by the gun that's underneath it. You can kind of see it there, the gray thing poking down. It fires bullets that instantly kill you and you can't block them in any way. And then we just have the escape. And there are two ways to escape now. There's a damageless way, which is what I use in any percent out of necessity. But it's a little bit riskier and relies on you finding a proper pixel. So instead, since I have the health recovery pills, I opt to do the damage boost strat, which is only a few frames slower. And to make matters even better, I got 2 quick pulls there, which save a handful of frames. And that's it. It's also worth noting that you don't actually have to fully escape in the escape sequence. If you grab that platform and drop straight down, for some reason the game thinks that that's okay and that you've escaped safely. I'm not really sure why that is, but it's convenient. It saves us some time. So yeah, that was the run. Again, 2043 is the final time by RTA timing. So overall, I mean, I got the unfortunate minecart screen wrap in Area 9, which is nothing I did wrong there. Just really unfortunate. I got stuck in a wall briefly in the sewers, Area 2, so I lost a bit of time there. But I got bailed out hard by enemy luck, the slime luck rather. And then I took 2 tries on the second barrier skip in Area 12. But again, the the timing of the bullets was so fast that compared to my IL, my individual level speedrun of Area 12, I only lost 2 seconds. So yeah, overall pretty great run. I don't think I omitted any strats either. So yeah, as of right now, I really have no reason to try and improve this run. If in the future a new skip is found, I'll probably come back and see what I can do to it. But as of right now, this has all the updated strats and nailed almost all of them. So yeah, I'm stoked. I'm absolutely thrilled with this run, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to give an extra shout out again to Paku, who found the barrier skip that actually saved so much time and prompted me to come back to these runs. And a shout out to Costin and Metroid McFly, who are the 2 other active 100% runners right now. They've been pushing me a lot. They've been finding a lot of neat strats for me to tinker with. And if it wasn't for those 3, I definitely would not have come back to this game, and I wouldn't have been motivated to push it as low as I have. So an extra big thanks to them. If you're interested in knowing more about this run, I'll be doing an in-depth tutorial series starting relatively soon, so you can stay tuned for that. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed.